count me in. And the poll comes out today, I guess, right? Isn't that the AP and the coaches?
11 o'clock, yep.
11, right when we're getting off the air. Oh, figures. Make sure Johnny
Maybe it's
Radio
12.
checks
it's one
it.
of those.
Okay. I believe, and I counted this up yesterday in anticipation. Once it was established the Tigers were 25th in the AP poll and 24th. They dropped a spot, beating Tulane on the road. The 18th ranked team in the country. That made no sense to me, but coaches' polls sometimes make no sense. Just look at Andy Kennedy and UAB. We'll get into that in a little bit. But I was amazed that they did get to 25 and 24 in the other poll, right? So once you knew that, there's no question that the Tigers are going to be in the basketball poll. In fact, CBS, Kyle Boone, who writes for CBS, has his own poll. I guess they have two polls, right? Because Parrish has a poll.
Yeah, I think maybe they might have like a power ranking on top of that. They do a lot of polls.
They do a lot of polls.
Over at CBS.
Did you see where Kyle Boone had the University of Memphis Tigers?
No.
Your Tigers?
Where do you have them?
14.
Wow. I've seen that range. The range I'm seeing from a lot of different people is anywhere from like 11 to 15. It feels like is the sweet spot.
11 might be a little high.
Seems like it.
14, 15. I thought it would be 20. I mean, 14 or 15. Count me
Absolutely.
in. That's like a top 4 seed, right? Anyway, a lot of basketball still to be played. But I did this counting up. How many teams do you think, basketball and football, are in both the polls? In other words, they're in the top 25 in both sports.
Oh, man, that's tough. Well, I know Alabama, so that's one.
There's a lot more than one.
I believe that. Let's say 6.
Wow, you're so close. Memphis, if they get in the basketball poll, it seems like a foregone conclusion, would be the 7th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
You did well.
It was very good.
You did really well. Like Iowa State, like people don't
That's true, yeah.
think about that, right? 7 of them. Once Memphis gets in the basketball poll. The trip, it was fantastic. And then I'm just stunned, honestly, by what Memphis did to Tulane. When you consider they were 14-point underdogs in that game, and they dominated the game, here's the most surprising thing to me. They absolutely out-physicaled Tulane on both offensive and defensive fronts, both in the lines. I did not think that they were capable of doing that. And I'm so happy to see guys like Jonah Gamble and that old line able to handle what is a terrific defensive line. And I really thought they were going to get beat up in the trenches. They did not have a chance to win that game. And yet they pulled it off.
Yeah.
I mean, that is, to me, stunning. It is a testament to the coaching staff that they were able to figure out the weaknesses and exploit them. This is a place Memphis has only won one time. Now, when they used to play in the Superdome, Memphis, I think, had the better record against them. They won the first time they played in that new on-campus stadium, which is, I guess, not so new anymore. That was in 2016. It's the last time they beat them there. And that was 8 years ago. And they just could not figure out ways. And most of the time they were bludgeoned. And here, from the get-go, they've been really good on first quarter, first drives. It's amazing. It must be all that practice. You do all those dummy drills and you work on those first 12 plays or whatever it is. And they've been really good all year with that. And then usually, second quarter to third quarter, they kind of fizzle out and they get it back in the fourth quarter. This time, they were darn good the whole game. And Tulane had everything to play for. They had home field advantage in the championship game. They win, they're in. Then Army has to come all the way to Navy. Now they got to go, to New Orleans. Now they got to go to West Point. They were playing to get into the college football playoff. Because if Boise slips to UNLV, they would have been the team in had they taken care of business. And they were really outclassed by Memphis. And now, of course, to the victor of the spoils, there's openings around the country. And there is discussion. North Carolina is open. Now, they apparently have interest in Arthur Smith, who has been a head football coach in the National Football League, who is the OC at the moment of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And last I looked, they were 9-3. How about Calvin Austin getting another touchdown reception?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he got hit. Hope he's okay, because he is not a big guy. Arthur Smith, John Sumrall, who Memphis just beat. There's another guy in there that's a big name, and I can't think of who it is. There's also the surprise move, and honestly, Gus Malzahn is just getting out of town before he gets fired, and he's going to go be the OC with Mike Norvell. I gotta wonder how that is going to work out, because as far as I remember, Mike Norvell has always called his own plays. Unless that changed, he's always called his own plays. So no, Malzahn's going to be the OC there and not call plays? That I find hard to believe. You know, that's a little like Chip Kelly leaving his head coaching position at UCLA to become the OC for Ryan Day. Well, we see how that worked out, didn't it? Ooh. They can only score 10 points in the Michigan game?
Ugh. It's not good.
You think they're knocked out of the playoff? I don't. No.
Nah.
I think that actually it's a benefit to them because you don't have to play in a championship game for
Might
wear
be
and
true.
tear.
Might be true.
Their
fans
that
are
game
fired up.
Oh my gosh, they want to get rid of Ryan Day.
They want him
I'm sure.
fired. I've heard some people say even if they win the national championship, they want him gone. They want nothing to do with
Well,
him.
that would be the silliest thing ever. But those are fans, right?
That's right.
So Malzahn goes. That opens up the door for UCF. And you know, so Ryan Silverfield's name going to pop up there for sure. Because Ryan Silverfield, I'm almost certain, was a GA at UCF. He's from Jacksonville, Florida, so he's from the state. He's coached there at least a season. I'm pretty sure I remember that. And so his name will come up in that. We'll see, because you'll recall my friend Ryan, upon getting this job, in his case to get the job, made this point. This is my destination job. I want this job. I don't want to go anywhere else. Memphis will be my home. We'll see. I will tell you, he's not going to get a sweeter deal. Jimmy Sexton is his agent, and the deal that they put together, he got extra money for the 10th win. He got a rollover of his contract for 9 wins. I'm not 100% certain, but I think that becomes a 2-year rollover if he wins. I know if he wins the conference championship, it is. But I think 11 wins is significant in that regard, too, like one-time deal.
Yeah.
There's some 11-game win clause in there. And I think he's making in the neighborhood with all the bonuses and everything of close to $3 million. Is he going to get a better deal? He can get a little bit more money, but will it be structured this way with the security and the rollovers that he's getting? I wonder. And once you're making $3 million, now if it's $10 million, yes. If it's $5 million and you're about to get your brains beat out of you because you're in a league that is tough. Look at the expectations some fans have. You can win the national title, we still don't want you. I'll be interested in seeing because, it's sooner or later if Ryan keeps this up, and I think he will, there's going to be somebody come a-calling. And we'll see if indeed this is the destination that he said it was going to be. I'm sitting in the Family Leisure Studios in the Ultimate Game Room sale. The fall sale still going on, although do you know that meteorologically winter has come? And all you got to do is go outside to figure that out. It was 28 degrees when I went to get my paper this morning. But they still have the fall sale and the ultimate game room sale where you can complete your game room with one of these three or maybe all of them. A new pool table. How about a shuffleboard game? How about an arcade game? They got all new, all state-of-the-art. It's a beautiful place. Go see it. Check it out. I-40 and Wooden Road. The sales continue with our friends at Family Leisure. And Thanksgiving is over, but you know what's right around the corner. More holidays. I love this time of year. I love the fact that now we get people who put home decorations out. Mm-hmm. It starts now the week before Halloween. Mm-hmm. I mean, you might see Christmas stuff the week before Halloween, which I'm okay with. I like joy. I like people being trying to be fun.
Yeah.
But we're going to get that all the way through now, January 3rd, 4th, 5th, whatever it may be, because I haven't looked at the calendars when the weekend is after New Year's. But we're going to have beautiful stuff out there all that time. And you know what? When you're in that kind of a jovial mood, you need a spirit to accompany it. And where do you go? You go to the Spirit Shop. That's where you go, Poplar and St. Nick. That is 4848 Poplar to be exact. That's the little log cabin down from Clark Tower. You've seen it a million times. Inside, not so little. Go get an education. That's what I love about the people in there. I can ask them about any liqueur. I can ask them about any bourbon, rare or middle of the road, maybe a bargain. Same thing with wine. I get educated. The service is incredible. Oh, and by the way, the prices are competitive with anybody. All you got to do is go ask Eddie Connor. He's had that place since the 60s. It's the Spirit Shop right there at Poplar and St. Nick. We do a thing on Mondays. Oh, by the way, Mike DeCourcy is going to join us in a little bit. We'll talk about how good Auburn might be. We'll get into that. And all of college basketball. Our friend John Thompson at the last second got called into a meeting. You know, his team's in the state semifinals.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's not probably going to be able to make it today, but we're going to talk college football and a whole bunch of other things. That will come your way in the last segment of this program. But we always, on Mondays, give out our precious medals, and I got a bunch. I'll start with the Grizzlies. Get a bronze medal from me. They come back from 19 down in a big way. They beat the Pacers, a good team, 136-121. 6 in a row now for the Grizz. Marcus Smart. What a job he's done since he's come back. They put Jalen Wells in the starting role, who's been outstanding. Chris, honestly, when they got those two, I thought Cam Spencer was going to be the better player. But Jalen Wells, on top of being a tremendous outside shooter, he's a great defender. He takes on some of the best perimeter scorers and stops them. He has really been impressive. And Marcus Smart said, okay, you want to take me off the bench? I'm not going to complain. And he's finishing. Might not be starting, he's finishing. I think that was the way Taylor Jenkins put it. And now the Grizz are 14-7. They're in third place in the West. And Brian Takis, don't look now. They're only a game and a half out of first place.
Is that right? I
That
actually
is
didn't
right.
know. I knew they were in the mix. I didn't know it was that close.
Yep. Game and a half out. Grizzlies are absolutely fun to watch. I got to give bronze medals, and they probably should get higher than this, but I got other stuff. Houston, Melrose, Mace, all have made the state title game. Can we get 3 out of there? Could we see back-to-backers for your alma mater,
right.
Houston?
How about that? Playing the same team they played last year in the state championship, Oakland. So a little rematch.
My goodness, that is a real testament. And, you know, the Chandler Day, right? That is the quarterback. How about his brother filling in for a game
He's
or
incredible.
two?
Freshman.
Yeah, I know. So they're going to have 7 years of days?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. That is really impressive. They all get bronze medals. They should be higher. If they win state titles, they will get golds.
Yes.
Like they'll get gold balls.
That's right.
That will be next week. Georgia Tech.
What a game.
That game gets a silver medal from me. An 8 overtime classic. I watched that game. I'm just amazed at how Georgia Tech kept hanging in that game.
Crazy.
It was incredible. What a fight they give. It just goes to show you, in rivalry games, anything can happen.
And then overtime, Dave, Somebody run the ball. I mean, every time we're throwing the ball, incomplete pass, breakups, run the ball.
You couldn't run it, though.
Well, that's true.
And when you're down to one
Well,
play,
that is
even
true.
though the one play.
It was a run play, Dave.
It was a run play. I would have been passing personally.
Yeah. Well, but even in the early, I mean, that first overtime, they're not running the ball. I mean, we got plenty of time. We got plenty of downs to work with. Let's run a draw play. Let's just do something.
I will say that Georgia Tech quarterback is such a gutsy kid.
Sure is.
I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah.
That gets a silver medal from me. That game was just a classic. And then the Tigers. Their sports programs, because they become only the 7th to be ranked in both sports. Football at 25, that great win against Tulane, the first one there since 16. It's their first football ranking since 20, so 4 years ago they were in the top 25. And let's be honest, if they win their bowl game, and who knows, we'll talk about that a little bit later, the options. If they do win that bowl game, they're going to finish in the top 25.
Yep.
That's impressive.
Very.
So when you're that way in football, and then in hoops, by the way, San Francisco is now 6-2. Mm-hmm. They're staying at top 50 Ken Palm. You beat UConn, 2-time defending champions. What a jerk. Danny Hurley made of himself in that game. He made himself a joke.
Yeah.
I mean, he was obnoxious.
Yeah.
I guess I read Matt Norlander saying, basketball needs more characters like him. Yeah. My first thought was, well, it's a little like wrestling. Wrestling has to have a heel. And Danny Hurley's become a heel.
Yeah.
I mean, he made a joke of himself. Yeah. I've never seen, first of all, he and Bruce Pearl is a little like this, not as obnoxious as Danny Hurley. Bruce Pearl can accept calls. Danny Hurley's teams never foul. It's incredible. Yeah. They never make a foul. Because if a call goes against one of his guys, even if he murdered somebody, Danny Hurley's upset. And then falling down like a jerk. Man. I mean, everybody, seriously, all the other schools in that were there in Maui were making fun of Danny Hurley. He made such a joke of himself.
Yeah, I don't think during that game, Memphis and UConn, I don't think or maybe they did, and we were so busy because that game was going on while we were doing sports time in the afternoon. But I did not see him fall down. And so then after the game, when he's talking at his press conference, he's like, "I don't know what happened. I might have tripped or something." I was like, "What is he talking about?" And then of course Twitter and everything was all over my timeline.
Know what it was about.
I was like, "Oh, okay, I see what happened."
Yeah, jerk. Anyway, then they dominate a pretty good Michigan State team that beats North Carolina the next day. So Michigan State falls to the U of M, and the Tigers look great in that game. And then Auburn is just too good. I mean,
to a buzzsaw.
Auburn, my gosh. Auburn has everything. They got 10 guys that are interchangeable. They're big. Mm-hmm. They play together. They average 20 assists per game. Mm-hmm. They're unreal, and they got a superstar. You can talk about Hunter Dickinson all you want to. If I want a big guy, I want Janai Broome right now, and I can't wait to talk about that with Mike DeCourcy in a little bit. And as I mentioned, 14th in the CBS poll.
Love it.
So, pretty good stuff right there. The Tigers get my gold.
That's really good stuff. I'll be honest, Dave, usually I'm very excited about my gold, silver, and bronze. Today I'm very excited about my rust, but we'll get to that in a second.
I got 4 of those.
Oh, man, I love my rust today. So my bronze, I'm giving it to SMU. The Ponies, they buy their way to the ACC. They buy this team. There are some people out there saying, look out for this team. They can make a run. And what do, Dave? They make that run. They're in the conference championship game this weekend. We all thought it was going to be SMU versus Miami, but now SMU versus Clemson, which will be fun. Miami, good Lord, what they've done the last couple of weeks. But good for SMU to buy their way. I know maybe a touchy subject with people, but to do that, make that jump, and take that risk, and then to be able to have such a good team, really impressive to watch them. I think they're safely in the playoffs. My silver goes to the Memphis Grizzlies. What they did in that game last night, they were down big early, but then they fight all the way back and get a convincing win. Now a 6-game win streak for the Grizzlies in this 4-game homestand. I talked to Michael Cole, Brett and I did, a week or two ago. I don't remember. It was leading up to this homestand, and we asked Michael Cole at the Commercial Appeal, what do the Grizzlies need to do over these next 4 games? He said 4-0. I mean, these are teams that they can beat. If they're going to be a team we think they're going to be, they need to sweep. What did they do, Dave? They go out there and they sweep.
6-0.
It's incredible. I mean, they played so well. John Morant back. He's just so much fun to watch. And you talked about it. Marcus Smart accepting this role of coming off the bench, being a backup, but still giving that energy. He was incredible last night. Made some big-time plays. So the Grizzlies get my silver. Then my gold. I have 3 golds to give out. My first one has to go to the Memphis Tigers, both football and basketball. What they've done over the last week, you already talked a lot about it, but beating Tulane with everything Tulane had on the line, they win that game. They're hosting the conference championship. There was even conversation the Tuesday before about them, if Tulane beat Memphis and then went on and beat Army in the conference championship game, that they could get a spot in the college football playoff, even if Boise State won out and was the group of 5 representative, that they could somehow get into that 12-team playoff. And so a lot on the line for Tulane, and Tigers go out there and beat them. And then on the hardwood, what the Tigers did, beating UConn, beating Michigan State. So they get a gold. Oregon gets another gold for me. The Ducks, and it has nothing to do with the football team, the basketball team goes out and wins the Players Era tournament, which I don't know, Dave, how much you kept up with this. You were very busy last week. But this was the tournament in Las Vegas where the winning team, actually the top 4 teams, all got NIL money. It was all top 4 teams received over $1 million
I read about that,
NIL money. Oregon beats Alabama in the championship game. I forget the exact, I think it was like 1.5 or 1.6 million they got in NIL to disperse amongst the team. So big time for them.
But that's for the current team. It's not
for the current team. That's
right,
correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. So those guys that were playing,
I don't know how that works, because
sweating
that
out there.
sounds like pay for play to me.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of how it's worked out, but it was fun to watch. Those teams were fighting out there in Vegas. And then my other gold goes to Auburn. I mean, best team in the country right now for my money. What they do, really good. And then Janai Broom, how about start of the game? Everyone's talking about, oh, this is a game for the bigs. You know, he's going to be a problem down low. Throws up a 3, first shot of the game, drills it. I mean, that kid's
his
incredible.
5th 3 the whole year,
yeah,
too.
He's incredible. That team's incredible. So Tigers, I mean, they were so good. Just ran into a buzzsaw that final game, and that's okay. I think Auburn is going to be a team we're talking about very, very deep into the tournament.
All right, I missed the silver. I got to put this out there because this was such a good performance. Josh Allen in the snow with the Buffalo Bills.
How about that?
He did something that I think has only been done one other time. It was by McCaffrey, who, by the way, got hurt in this game.
He did.
He threw a touchdown. Well, we know that happens all the time. He ran for a touchdown. Well, he's done that before. He caught a touchdown
crazy.
on a throw that he made.
Yeah.
Like, that never happens.
No.
So he did the triple thing. That is pretty impressive. And the Bills are impressive because they clinched their division with 5 games to go.
Wow.
That is pretty good stuff. All right, I got 4 Russ. I got to start with the UAB loss yesterday in basketball to Middle Tennessee State.
Yeah.
Really, the rust goes to the coaches of the American who picked UAB to win. UAB is now 4-5. And to me, that was a vote where they go, we're not Penny Hardaway fans. Because that was not a media poll.
No.
That was a coaches poll. And here's UAB now 4-5, picked to win over Memphis? Sorry.
Crazy.
Lendenberg is pretty good. The others, like the guard Vasquez, who was supposed to be so good, they were awful.
Yeah.
They could not hit. At home, they lost to Middle. Now they're 4-5. They've lost to Longwood. They've lost to Illinois State. This is not a good basketball team. Michigan and Ohio State. They had to get pepper sprayed by police officers from both states that were on hand because Michigan, which was stupid, tried to plant their flag in the Ohio State logo. Well, you know they're not going to allow you to do that.
That's right.
That, first of all, whatever happened to really being a sportsman? You win the game, you've already rubbed it in their face.
It's rivalry week, Dave.
What was Ohio State a 20.5-point favorite in that game?
Yeah, they were big time favorites.
I think it was 20.5.
I think so.
And it's incredible how bad Ohio State played.
Yeah.
I understand why Ryan Day fans are like not showing their face today.
That's right, yeah.
Incredible to me that you think you can do that and get away with that. And then, of course, I blame Michigan more than I blame Ohio State. Ohio State's just protecting their turf, but my gosh.
Happened all day, Dave. Pretty much every rivalry game ended with a flag being planted.
Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, my third Rust medal. There was word he was not going to start. The Jets, when I wrote that down, he wasn't even going to be the starter. The Jets have backtracked on that, probably because Aaron Rodgers told them they had to.
Yeah.
But what a bummer of a situation if you're a Jets fan. Honestly. And then finally, and the biggest rust of all, goes to Matt Eberflus.
I was about to say, I was waiting to hear it, Dave.
Well, of course. I have never seen, in all the years that I've been watching the NFL, and I got to tell you, folks, I've been going to Bear games since I was a kid, and they played at Wrigley Field. I was 6 years old. That's 1959. I went to my first Bears game. In all those years, since 1959, at that level, I have never seen any game time management at the end of a critical game where you can tie. You've got to tie. You can still win the game. 36 seconds elapsed, and you never called a timeout you got in your back pocket. And then at the end, he has the audacity to say we played it the right way?
Ridiculous.
Oh, my God. That just showed you what an idiot he was. First of all, he should have been fired just for not using the timeout.
That's right.
When he said they played it the right way, that was absolute grounds for firing. What a dummy. God, I'm so glad they're rid of him. Seriously. And it's unfortunate. He's going to get a job as a DC somewhere because he does. He's a good defensive coach. He can't be a head coach because he can't game manage. I don't think he pushes his personnel either. He's got better personnel than they've lost 4 straight games they could have won. Should have won, probably. It's a joke. Goodbye, Matt Eberflus.
It was really, really bad. And like you said, still has the timeout, Dave. They never used a timeout. Crazy.
It's forever.
Yeah,
it's a forever timeout.
I wonder if the Bears asked for it back when they fired him. But, just really, really bad.
Yeah, they gave it to him. They said, take it with you.
You can keep it. You can keep that timeout that you didn't use. Especially in that moment, you have a rookie quarterback, and, I understand if, hey, let's try to run this fast. Let's try not to use timeout. But when you see nothing's happening, hey, quick timeout.
Right.
Let's regroup. Let's do something. Matt Eberflus gets my first rust because that was just awful in a game that was a great game. They come all the way back in the second half.
Oh, my God.
Have an opportunity.
They had it tied.
It was incredible. And then for that to be the way it ended, he gets a rust from me. My second rust goes to Ryan Day, now 1-4 against Michigan as Ohio State's head coach, and that's not gonna work at Ohio State. I've already heard a lot of people saying, I've heard some people say, unless they win the national championship, he's gone. But then I hear other people say, even if he wins the national championship, he should be gone. That's how much Ohio State fans hate Michigan, that even if they win a national championship, they would want their national champion head coach fired because he can't beat their arch rival, Michigan. He gets another rust. My last rust, and I'll be completely open and out front about this, Dave. I actually like Dan Hurley. I've been a Dan Hurley fan. I think he's a really good coach.
I got to check your sanity.
I don't mind the fire he coaches with, but what he did in Maui was over the top. It was too much. It really did not sit well with me. Just everything he did. And then on top of all that, look, it's okay. Team had a bad week, didn't play well. Maybe inside you're saying, I don't ever want to do something like that again. That wasn't fun. I don't think that helped my team at all. You don't say it right when you get home. Yesterday in a media press conference, he says, we're never doing a 3-game MTE or anything like that. We're only going to play home and homes and neutral site, one-off neutral site games at big-time stadiums. That's fine if that's what you want to do. You can't say it after you just went 0-3 in Maui. That's something you wait
I'm
for
telling you, that's
and maybe
stupid.
say it in the offseason.
You're going to turn down going to Maui again?
No chance.
The most prestigious tournament? That's because you're a bad loser.
I was thinking about it, Dave. How many big-time teams didn't play in an MTE over the last week? They all played in big-time MTEs.
Every one of them did.
It's crazy to say you're never going to do it again.
Yeah, we're late for a break. We got to take it right now. This is Sports 56, and this is Wolo and Friends.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here's Gould's Holiday Special in-store and online. Come to any Gould's over the Black Friday weekend or purchase online on Cyber Monday and Tuesday and receive $20 off when you purchase $120 in gift cards. It's the perfect gift for everyone. This holiday season, give the gift of tranquility with a spa gift card. Perfect for anyone who deserves a moment to unwind, refresh, and rejuvenate. Happy holidays from Gould's. Gould's Spa, locally owned and operated since 1932.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. I have been told that my ads are all business and I should share some of my personality. Okay, I love tongue twisters, like the one about the terrific tasting toast by Taste Tester Toaster, or Big Black Bugs, Bleed Blue Blood, and of course Sally and her seashells. Or of course the ever-present I'm a Mother Pheasant Plucker, I pluck Mother Pheasants. Okay, enough of that. If you want an honest, fair, reasonable roofing, siding, or gutter estimate, call Five-Ash Roofing at 367-0050. That's exactly what you'll get. No empty promises, no high-pressure sales tactics, and no fast-talking salesman trying to convince you that today and only today is the best day for you to get a new roof. For the record, the best day to get a new roof is when you're ready for one. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Designer settings.
back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshyn.
All we hear is Radio Gaga, Radio Gaga.
Let's head to Pittsburgh. Our Hall of Famer from the Sporting News, Mike DeCourcy, joins us now. I guess my first question is, in your poll, in the Mike DeCourcy Sporting News poll, is Auburn the best basketball team, or is it Kansas with the new Draymond Green you wrote about with Hunter Dickinson? Who would win that game if they played or when they play?
I'm not sure yet that either is the best team.
Really?
I think it's too soon to make such judgments. Like when I say, like last week I was saying I thought Ohio State was the best football team in college, and we saw how that turned out.
Yeah. Wow.
I think it's too soon. I think Auburn has a terrific group, and I think they're very talented, and they are built for that third game in 3 days better than the Tigers are at this point. But the fact that the Tigers got to that game was remarkable, and now this team can build on what it has accomplished early in the season. It's better equipped to do that than last year's team was. Not as deep, can't afford injuries and such, but it's a better group. They have more guys that are looking for each other than looking for, okay, where's my next shot coming from? And so I think that was really encouraging. But I'm not sure that either Kansas or Auburn is the best team. I won't have even a handle on that until we get another month and a half, 2 months into this.
Well, the good news is you got two really dynamite games this week. You got that Auburn team that personally, and I've seen a bunch of Final Four teams up close. I think they are a Final Four team. They got 10 guys. They're tall. They're interchangeable. And they got a superstar in Janai Broome. And I saw him 2 years ago in Atlanta when the Tigers beat Auburn. They played that game in Phillips Arena in Atlanta, and Broome was a good player, but nothing like he is now. You talk about development. Wow, he has really become good. And they play Duke this week, so that'll be an outstanding game. Broome and Flag and all that other good stuff. That's got to be number one to watch this week, right? Or North Carolina, Alabama.
It's funny because 2 weeks ago, I am actually going to be at the Auburn Duke game. Cooper Flag is one of those guys that people read about. So my bosses wanted me to go to that. And so I will be there for that. And the Carolina-Alabama game is the same night, and it's like 7:15 and 9:15. I'm like, why couldn't it have been on Tuesday, right? Then I could have gone to both. But it's not. And I think State might be playing down there in this challenge as well, and also on the same night, I think. So thanks, ESPN. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I think that, the Duke-Auburn game is the game of the night because Broome is right now playing like he's a National Player of the Year, and Flag is still the most talented player in college basketball. The guy that, even with what Ace Bailey's doing at Rutgers, Dylan Harper's doing at Rutgers, I still look at Flag as the most talented player in college basketball. So getting those two guys on the same floor and those two teams on the same floor, it's kind of important for Duke because they dropped a couple that were winnable. Kentucky and Kansas were both winnable, but they didn't handle the last few minutes well, so they kind of need this one.
I don't think North Carolina and Alabama, when that was arranged by ESPN, no one figured that North Carolina would be 4-3, and that Alabama with that roster that they would have lost twice, 6-2.
Right.
So that's how good college basketball is right now. I got a question. I wasn't going to ask this right away, but since I brought those teams up, I guess it was Oregon that beat Alabama in this tournament. And I get a little confused here. I know the Hall of Famer can straighten me out. and that was an NIL tournament that Oregon won, right? Where the team got
Players
$1 million.
era.
Yeah. So explain to me, if indeed the wording is that NIL has to be all about name, image, and likeness, and it cannot be pay for play, how does that tournament get away with that?
I'm not exactly, because I don't think the money goes straight to the players. I think it gets filtered through
a collective?
whatever, the collectives and such. So I think that's how it works, and I think that's how they get around it. It's, I honestly, at this point, it is, I don't even hide behind the idea that it's not pay for play. It's just the one thing that it's still not is employer-employee, and that's what the schools are fighting against. They don't want it. And honestly, the only people that want it, I think, are the unions. The unions that are fighting to be the union for college athletes, because I think the players are way better off in this circumstance. Because once you get the unions in there, then you've got to have. Then there's no more annual free agency.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, everybody's got the chance where if they're, if you want to play for us, you got to sign up for 2 years or whatever it might be, and so everything would change if we went employer-employee. So I think right now this is the sweet spot for the athletes, and honestly, it's the only people that are not really content with the way it is now are teams who have unexpected losing records and coaches. They're the only ones that get a tough deal. And frankly, the coaches, especially in football, have gotten such a nice ride for so long that I have no sympathy for them at all.
It is a harder job for sure.
Yeah.
Because your hours are really increased. You've got two different avenues that you've got to pay attention to, not just high school recruiting, but even more importantly, portal recruiting. It's a lot tougher job. I agree with you there. You wrote a story about Hunter Dickinson. It made me think he's the new Draymond Green, or he's the college's Draymond Green. Do you think he gets his act together? And you likened him, and I thought this before I even read your sentence. He's a lot like Grayson Allen.
Yeah, I think there is a lot of that, and he wasn't always like this. I mean, I covering a lot of his games, watching a lot of his games, analyzing a lot of his games already in his career when he was at Michigan. That was not going on, and all of a sudden, I don't know, maybe to draw attention to himself, he decided to adopt this persona, and it's not good for anybody. Duke didn't get to be really good with Grayson Allen in their lineup. I mean, I'm not talking about freshman year. No one even knew who he was. He played one game where he really mattered. It was, of course, the national championship game. I'm talking about once he became an established starter / star as sophomore and junior. His antics hurt Duke consistently, and they did not get to be what they could be until he put all that aside as a senior and just balled out. And they made the Elite Eight and came, within one Grayson Allen missed shot of making the Final Four. I don't think that it helps Hunter or Kansas for this to be going on. Flagrant fouls, ejections, anything like that, it's not good for a team. And sometimes you're going to commit a flagrant foul by accident almost. You're going to make a move, and it's going to be the wrong move, and you're going to commit a flagrant foul. Those aren't too bad. And sometimes you might do it out of frustration, and that's not great. But it can happen. You certainly don't want it to happen in a game that's super consequential, but it can happen. But the ones that are calculated, and he had a couple of different plays in that game that could have gone in that direction. Maybe not to ejection, but to certainly the flagrant one status, and he got away with a few. And even on that play, he threw an elbow into the defender's face as he shot the hook shot. I thought that it could be argued that he purposely brought down the defender to the floor. I thought it could be argued that. It was hard to tell because it was a bit of a scrap. But then when they were on the floor and he used his foot to scrape it or kick, whatever verbiage you want to use, all of that was objectionable. And it's funny because when you said the new Draymond Green, I thought you were at first talking about KJ Adams and how he defends so great. But no, you're right. I mean, it's not good for the team when guys do this. I
have to ask you, Mike Krzyzewski ended up suspending Grayson Allen after like the 10th offense. I've always been a big Steve Kerr fan, but I've always felt like he was an enabler of Draymond Green, that he could have done a little bit better job of keeping him more composed. Does Bill Self have any connection with allowing this, enabling this?
I think if it continues from this point where he got ejected from an important game, I think if it continues from here, then yeah, because now it came to a head. Even, like I said, he was ejected with 11 minutes left in what was a clearly important game, and they were able to win without him. But if you allow it to continue, then yeah, it's partly your fault for sure. I mean, what happened if you were watching the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday? George Pickens got a taunting penalty earlier in the game, and then he received a huge pass. It was about 35, 40 yards down the 10-yard line. And he goes into the end zone, and he's taunting the fans, which you can get away with, except he was doing the little finger point thing with two hands, and it looked like you're doing a pistol, and they're flagging that now. And so he got flagged again, and it cost the Steelers points. Mike Tomlin's got to get a handle on that, just as Bill Self has to get a handle on his.
He came down on him, and I'm glad you brought up Mike Tomlin because, he was a GA here under Tommy West. We always take credit for Mike Tomlin, but he's got to go down as one of the great coaches of our era. The guy has never had a losing season. I mean, that's incredible. That's a positive sign of coaching. I got to ask you about Danny Hurley. You've covered him quite a bit. He embarrassed himself in front of all those people, in front of every school that I talked to that was at Maui. All their fans, they were all making fun and couldn't believe the behavior of Danny Hurley, who fell down and every call that goes against UConn, like they've never committed a foul. It's amazing to me. I hate to say it, but what a jerk he made of himself. Now he's saying he's never going to play in a 3-day tournament again. I mean, what's going on with Danny Hurley? I likened him to because I believe Matt Norlander wrote on CBS.com that the basketball needs more characters like him, and I said he's like a heel in wrestling.
Well, I don't want him to be a heel because he's like the greatest guy. He's really a wonderful person to deal with. And so I don't want him to be doing that. But I actually was sitting across from the bench, the UConn bench. I'm right there courtside at the Final Four, and I'm across from their bench. And I found it to be totally unnecessary. That team was winning every game they played last year. They're like one of the only
20.
teams ever. Yeah, it's one of the only teams ever to win all their NCAA tournament games by double digits. And he's still doing that. It's like, you don't need this. It's not necessary. You can do better. And it's funny because a couple of years ago, he was really having a hard time with this. And he said that him getting that under control was a part of why they were able to win the 2023 championship. And if his team in 2023 was terrific and they were champions, but last year's team was one of the greats, and they blew people out, even though they were playing excellent opposition. I just don't. I don't think that if he had been the same person in 2023 that he was in 24, they wouldn't have won their first one, and then they maybe wouldn't have won their second. So I think now that they've won a couple, he thinks he can go back to being that person on the sideline, and it's not necessary, and it's not helpful, and it does make him look bad. And I don't want him to look bad because I know him and I know who he is, and he's not that person. He just doesn't control his frustration on during the course of the game, and the only way for that to be controlled is the officials start issuing technical fouls. And they're not doing it quickly enough.
No, they're not.
They're putting up with too much.
He should have been ejected in the game against Memphis. Honestly,
I think that's absolutely a fair description. He should have been.
Yeah. Always love chatting with you, my friend. We'll do it again next Tuesday.
You bet, Dave.
Monday. Excuse me.
Next Monday. Bet. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you. I don't know what day it is. Thank you much. That's Mike DeCourcy. He's brought to you in part by the good folks at Grind City Brewing and that new Gator Patrol. That's the tangerine cream. Got the subtle tartness, got the hint of cream. What a balance it is. It's the newest product from a great line of products. This was a father and son dream just 10, 15 years ago, and they've made this incredible. Their beers, this new cream, the facilities they have, the modern brewery just north of downtown where you see the skyline of Memphis and all the bridges. Just a beautiful place. They have concerts. Are a little cold right now. It's a great place and great products. Go check out the newest, the Gator Patrol from Grind City Brewing. Back, we'll talk a little college football. Brian Dacus and I will chew around about where should the Tigers play in a bowl game and more. That comes your way in just a minute.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Locally owned and operated for over 40 years, Automatic Gates Construction tailors custom gate solutions for all your residential, commercial, and industrial needs, including repairs, maintenance, and installation. Automatic Gates Construction specializes in designing and installing automatic gates and fencing that seamlessly blends security, functionality, and aesthetic appeal. Elevate the safety and efficiency of your property with a premium gate solution. Automatic Gates Construction at myautomaticgates.com.
Sometimes you just need to make it fast, like the fun that comes from a quick and new 2024 Honda CB500F. This amazing style streetlights with a narrow 471cc twin, along with slick GT's blade, dual disc brakes, and standard ABS, all make it for the price. Find phone all-weather Lexus 2024 Honda CB500F, available at December 5656 William Road, Branch.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas gas lights on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code KIND to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code KIND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code KIND for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
There's no better place in Memphis to catch up with your out-of-town friends than Bell Tavern, Memphis' best downtown neighborhood bar. This is the time of year when old friends and far-flung relatives swing into town for a few days, and you want to get together someplace quiet, someplace friendly, and someplace with ice-cold beer and signature cocktails you can't find anywhere else. And that, my friends, is Bell Tavern. Tucked into Barbaro Alley, Bell Tavern is tailor-made for being with people you haven't seen in a while, and you get to show off the fact that you know the greatest bar in Memphis, and they don't.
I was perusing ESPN.com today, and so they have two guys that prognosticate playoffs in all the bowl games. One of them has Memphis in the Birmingham Bowl against Arkansas. The other has Memphis in the Fenway Bowl, which, by the way, is my number one choice. And only for one reason. I think I'm going to have a terrible vantage point.
Yeah.
Be a tough game to do.
Yeah. But
I want to do a game in Fenway.
that'd be fun.
That would be,
Yeah.
I can say I did a game in Fenway Park. That would be
fun.
outstanding. I don't think the University of Memphis wants to go there. In fact, I think the U of M's preference are warm weather, pre-Christmas. Pre-Christmas, players tend to not opt out.
Interesting.
Post-Christmas, they do.
Huh.
That seems to be at least perception of coaches.
Yeah.
So, do you have a choice? Do you care?
I don't really want to go back to the Birmingham Bowl. I feel like,
To play Arkansas, that might be a good game.
that would be, if you're playing Arkansas,
But they've had
that'd be
bad
different.
luck in
They've had really
Birmingham.
bad luck. Yeah.
They lost to Wake and they lost to Auburn, I think it
Auburn,
was.
that's right.
yeah.
I was at the Auburn game. It was not fun. Yeah, I don't really have any preference outside of that, really.
Well, there's the Boca. I think they would like to go to
Boca
the
would
Boca.
be cool, yeah.
There's the Independence Bowl where you could play USC
Yeah.
in the Independence Bowl.
Well, that'd be
Because
fun.
the other side of the Independence Bowl is the old Pac-10 for
Yeah.
this year.
That's right.
They're still
yeah.
obligated to that. So, and that's drivable. You're talking 5 hours. There's
Sure.
like 3 casinos there for people. Probably a little too cold to play golf, but
Probably.
there's
Hey, stay warm in the casinos. You had me at casinos, Dave.
there you go. So the Independence Bowl is one. You got 2 in Orlando. You got 2, I think, in Tampa, but I don't know what the connection is really with the American on those. But those, I think, are pre-Christmas in warm weather. So those would that would reach that prerequisite wish that I think the U of M
That'd
has.
be fine with any of those. I mean, I and it feels like most of what I'm seeing is meets this criteria. And I think most of the American bowls meet this criteria. But I would just like something where you're playing a Power 5 school.
See, I that's what I want.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's what the coaching staff wants.
Well, yeah,
coaching staff
probably.
wants to win their 11th game.
Sure.
So we'll see. The Birmingham is against an SEC school. Fenway, I think, is an ACC school
It's an
too.
ACC school,
So
that's
you
right.
would get a Power 4 in that.
Yeah.
The Independence Bowl, I believe, would be a Power. Well, can't count the. Well, here's the deal. It's the old Pac-12 schools. Like so,
you
for
get, like,
instance,
Oregon
the
State,
University of
Washington State.
Colorado. If they don't get
Right.
into the playoff,
Yeah.
they're obligated to an old Pac-12 school
Right.
connection to a bowl, not the Big
Interesting.
12. So that would be no way they would come to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. That's
right.
just the old Big 12 schools.
Yeah.
So I don't know how all of that will work out, but It's interesting. I guess we'll have to wait until there could be rumors that come out. They're figuring these things out now. Maybe some will be based on championship games, but I don't think too many.
No.
They'll figure this out, but they won't announce it until after the championship games next Sunday. It'll be a big deal for ESPN. Title games, Texas, Georgia, both teams in the playoff, don't you think?
Yes.
Big Ten, Ohio, Oregon, Penn State. Both teams, I think, are in. ACC's interesting.
Bid Steeler, Dave.
SMU, Clemson, not Miami.
Yeah.
Is Miami out? Some
Great
people
question.
think Miami is out.
Yeah.
I don't know. If Miami is in and Notre Dame, first of all, Notre Dame is 4 or 5 in the country.
Yeah.
That's the worst 4 or 5 team in the country that I've seen in years. They lost to Northern Illinois. They've beaten nobody since then. But now they've obliterated everybody they've played. I think that is way overrated for Notre Dame. But we'll see because the proof will be in the pudding. They're in the playoff. That is for sure. So that's going to knock out one of the SEC or the Big Ten teams.
Yep.
And if Miami's out, well, then I think an extra SEC team is in. If Miami is in, the SEC might only get 3 in. That, around this part of the neck of the woods, would be
crazy.
That's just impossible. Impossible. Big 12, Arizona State, Iowa State. I think Arizona State's the big story of the year.
No, absolutely.
Dillingham.
What a job he's done this year.
Oh, my gosh.
Picked last in the conference.
I just remember he was like 26 or 27 when he went from GA to tight end coach.
Yeah.
So he was making 6 figures for the first time in his life, and how grateful he was. And he's just a young guy. He
awesome.
looked like he was 13. He still looks like he's
Still looks, really young.
20. You think about Norvell's folks.
Oh man,
Lanning and
Dillingham.
Dillingham. No, it's absolutely crazy. The AAC, Tulane and Army. I think Tulane, even though it's at Army, I think Tulane is going to pounce and beat Army. Agree? Disagree?
I think it'll be a good game, but I definitely would probably give Tulane the edge. I've been really impressed. I mean, I know it was really fun what the Tigers did, but I've been really impressed with Tulane this year, what they've done. So I think they go up there and get the win.
I think Tulane's a better team. Yeah. I'm still shocked at how Memphis dominated that team. I really am. That's a testament to all those seniors and to Silverfield and that staff. And then finally, Boise's at home. They beat UNLV at UNLV. I don't see how they lose this game with a college football playoff and a bye right at their beckoning. I think they win this game by 2 touchdowns.
Is that game at Boise State?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. So that definitely helps out them a lot. I didn't know if that was for whatever reason. I thought the Mountain West might play their championship game like in Las Vegas, as kind of like a neutral side, and that would certainly give UNLV an edge. But no, if it's at Boise, that's a big edge to them.
Yeah. We'll be talking more about that again next week, tomorrow, or over the next few days. Tomorrow, a lot of NFL. Jeff Moore will be here. We will talk Bowls with Steve Earhart. And then, of course, Mike Keith. It was a tough one against Washington this week for the Titans. That'll do it for us. This final segment has been brought to you by Southern Security. Your home team credit union, voted the best credit union in the area for 6 straight years. They know what they're doing, folks. You want a better mortgage? Call them. You want to talk to a human being? Call them. You want to go to southernsecurity.org? You can get that way. The best rates, and honestly, just interaction with people. You really become a family member when you join the team at Southern Security. Always the best service, the best rates, the best technology. Your home team credit union, proud supporters of Tigers Athletics. That is Southern Security. That does it for us. Johnny Radio is next. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day, everybody.